Welcome to Arcades, the strategist. As far as opening hand goes, I like it, but we've only got one lane in the hand, so let's go and mulligan on this one. Yeah, we can make this work. It's a little clunky, but we have 4 lanes, and that'll definitely allow us to get down Arcades, and we're going to keep on this one. Hopefully the Scry is going to put some sort of defender on top. Meekstone. It'd be nice to have that, but I'd like to get some sort of card advantage going, so let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Let's go and lead off with the Seaside Citadel, and mainly let's get Arcades popped up. We need to make sure Arcades is popped up. Get down Seaside Citadel, and then anything else we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We are playing Arcades, the Strategist. Flying and Vigilance. Whenever a creature defender enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Then each creature you control with defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power and can attack as though it did not have defender. Opponent says something in the chat. Hey, you too. Best of luck to our opponent. Going to get this closed out, and we're playing against Gonti. Hopefully Gonti can, this is one of those decks where you're really excited to be playing against Gonti so they can steal some of your walls and it just not do a whole lot for them. Let's go and get down Brushland. Yeah, I think we're okay. Let's get down Brushland. Let's go and go for Rolling Stones. It's going to be white and then one colorless and then anything else. We're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. Did I cover Gonti? The actual... Sorry if I repeat it. I've been going on like about an hour of recording with Arcades, so my commentary is a little jumbled at this point right now. I'm just going to go ahead and read it anyway. We're playing against Gonti. Enters the battlefield. Look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library. They get to exile one of those cards face down, put them on the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order, and then they get to cast that spell and use their manas or any color to cast that spell. So I know I talked about Gonti, but I couldn't remember if I technically read it or not. So if I did, I do apologize. Let's go ahead and get down Yavimaya Coast, and then anything else. We're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. Wall of Junk's actually not too bad. That's one of the fun things about building a defender deck, or at least building a commander deck that has a lot of different parts that you're normally not used to kind of building around. You get some really cool, interesting cards. You have stuff like Wall of Junk. Whenever it blocks, we're going to be able to return it back to our hand at the end of combat. And you know, that may be a little bit of a downside, but the deck that we're running, we care about casting more walls on the battlefield and drawing a lot of cards. Actually works out really well that we're going to be able to return that back to our hand. So let's go and get down Arcades. Yeah, I like going for that. Let's get down Reliquary Tower, and let's go and tap out for Arcades. It's going to be, unfortunately, a little bit painful on this one. Let's go green, let's go white, and let's go and tap out for blue. Get down Arcades. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. There we go. But yeah, as far as the actual deck itself, you know, basically just trying to really take advantage of Arcades' Enter the Battlefield ability. We've got some good stuff in here like Panharmonicon. Whenever you get that down, you start casting some of these walls. It's going to give you double the card draw, which is really good in a matchup like this, or at least you know, any sort of matchup. Getting access to a lot of card draw always makes for a lot of fun. And then now, one thing definitely you want to mention about this deck is Arcades is very crucial to you being able to win with all these defenders. You know, look, the thought of just simply getting down Wall of Junk by itself is really not that exciting. So this is definitely one of those decks where you want to run some sort of protection for Arcades, Lightning Greaves or Swiftfoot Boots, but also you can kind of run some sort of backup plan with stuff like Rolling Stones, which is going to allow you to start swinging in with some of your defenders. Kind of gives you an alternative game plan off of that one. Okay, let's go ahead and get down... We could go for Signet. That does keep us online for Teferi's protection in response to some sort of removal. Do you want to be that cautious? You know what? Let's go and do that. Yeah, we definitely want to keep Arcades on the battlefield. If our opponent's got some spot removal, I guess technically they would have used it by now. But yeah, I like leaving it. We're not really under any sort of huge pressure right now. We're just looking at a 3/3 body coming across. You know, if they want to use something to kind of start giving a power toughness bonus to Yahini, they can go for it. So at this point, we'll just go and leave up to Fairy's Protection to kind of see what we draw into once we get down Wall of Junk, kind of go from there. But if we wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, we could have gotten that down, and then maybe our opponent would have swung in to get that Sword of the Animus trigger, and that would have allowed us to kind of bounce back Wall of Junk to kind of go from there. But thankfully with Yahini sometimes a little bit hard to deal with because they can sacrifice another creature that's going to give Yahini indestructible. Since we do have Swords of Plowshare in the hand, that will allow us to hopefully kind of deal with Yahini on that one. So see if our opponent wants to swing in for a 3/3. And at this point right now, we could chump block with Arcades, but if they have any sort of, who knows, some sort of deal X damage like that, we'll just go and force it. Well, I guess technically we could block on this one and then go for Teferi's Protection. Yeah, let's go and go for that one. We'll try to do that. That's going to be a 3/5, and then whatever happens, if they have some sort of instant speed action, and then we can go for Teferi's Protection in response to that. Okay, opponent's going to be tapping out for Noxious Gear Hulk. Enters the battlefield, destroy another target creature. Yeah, we'll just go and go for Teferi's Protection in response. So that's going to be Brushland, Selesnya Signet, and then tap out for one more. We're going to go for Teferi's Protection. That's going to phase everything out that we control and basically allow us to kind of escape that Noxious Gear Hulk. All right, it's going to be a 5/4 on the battlefield. Okay, there we go. And then we draw into Path to Exile. Wonderful. I'm just going to go for Wall of Junk right now. You need to make sure that we leave up at least double white so we have access to both of those. Let's go and tap out for Wall of Junk. And actually, if we wanted to, we could actually go for Crossroads and start swinging across. So we're going to do that. I got 3 cards in the hand. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. Let's do that. So let's go ahead and tap out for 1 colorless mana and tap out for Signet. And let's go and get down Crossroads for 1 green mana. And let's go ahead and go for Swords to Plowshare. Hopefully we don't want to let our opponent gain some life because we're going to be swinging in for a 0/7. We need to make sure we can go for that one. Let's go for Swords to Plowshare. Oh, dang it, I clicked on the wrong one. Either way, it'll be okay. Let's go for Wall of Junk. That's going to be tap out for double colorless off that one. And that's going to allow us to go ahead and swing in for 10 damage and draw an additional card off of this one. Okay, drawn to Temple of Alignment. Let's go and get that down, get the scry going. Aura Shards. You know what? Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. It'd be nice to have, but we just need to get some defenders on the battlefield. Okay, let's go and push in for 10. It's going to put our opponent down to 25, and then we'll be good to go. Yeah, I meant to go for Path to Exile. That way they didn't gain that life, but either way, we probably would have gotten to the point where we'd have had to use Swords to Plowshare, and they would have gained some life off of that one anyway. So it's not the end of the world that happened that way. Okay, an opponent will get down Gonti, so we'll see what Gonti's going to be able to steal off the top part of our library. Now, if we wanted to, we could go to Path to Exile right now, but at this point right now, yeah, well, that's going to be Path to Exile on Gonti. That's going to allow them to recast it, kind of dig a little bit deeper. I don't really think we're afraid of it that much, though. Main thing is because Gonti does have Death Touch, so if Gonti does deal at least 2 damage, to Wall of Junk, we're going to be basically lose about 7 attack power on our side of the battlefield. But let's see what our opponent's going to steal off of Gonti, or if they get anything down. Our opponent's going to tap out for Angelic Wall, which is basically going to be... yeah, Angelic Wall is going to be... We know where that came from. It came from our side of the battlefield. So if that's all they're grabbing off of the top 4 cards of our library, I'll definitely take that one. And opponent's going to go for Sword activation on Angelic Wall. Do we want to go for that one? You know, let's do this. Let's go for Path to Exile on Gonti. Yeah, I like going for this one. It's going to get rid of Gonti. It's going to send Gonti back to the command zone. And at the same time, it's going to allow us to start swinging in with Wall of Junk. And with the Angelic Wall only basically being a 0/4, it'll be a 1/5 after this one. It'll still put her in a spot where we can hopefully kind of push past that Angelic Wall. Or at least if they want a chump block, that'll take care of it on that one. All right, drawn to Ghostly Flicker. Let's go and push in with the crew. I'm going to send Wall of Junk in and Arcades. That's going to be 7 coming across with Wall of Junk and a 3/5 in the air. We'll see our opponent actually wants to split this one up, how they want to block. Okay, and they're actually going to go for Arcades block with Angelic Wall, keeping it on the battlefield, knocking them down to 18 off that Wall of Junk. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, it would have been nice to draw into another sort of defender, but we did draw into Ghostly Flicker, which is actually really good in this particular scenario. Being able to cast it for 3 mana, or be able to bounce Wall of Junk onto the battlefield and cash in that extra card draw for that one. It's always nice to kind of get a little bit extra off some of stuff like Ghostly Flicker, but being able to get a card draw will definitely kind of hopefully help us kind of push past this one. See what our opponent's going to be tapping out for. Cage Sun, okay. Okay, and our opponent's going to recast Gonti entering the battlefield off of that Cage Sun. Now, we'll have haste off of Crossroads and have an additional power and toughness bonus with the Cage Sun. But we'll see what our opponent's going to go for. But thankfully, they had to tap out for a pretty good chunk of mana. So whatever they do grab off the top part of our library, they won't be able to cast at this point right now. Oh yeah, but I think what I was talking about earlier, or maybe it was another video, but yeah, the way they kind of spoiled all these Elder Dragons for the M19 set, I think they released Nicol Bolas first and a few other ones like that, but they waited until the very end for Arcades, and it was kind of one of those things. I've never been a huge Bant person. I've never really enjoyed Bant or anything kind of green-white like that. It's usually typically my least favorite color shard, but whenever they released Arcades, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. That's exactly what we needed. So I'm just really glad that Arcades has played out exactly how I thought it would be, and then, which is basically just a ton of fun. So we do have Ghostly Flicker. So at this point right now, I think what we want to end up going for is we'll go and bounce Temple of Enlightenment. And then we'll go and bounce Wall of Junk off this one. We do have at least one colorless mana going for that. Let's go for Ghostly Flicker on Temple of Enlightenment and Wall of Junk. And let's see, let's go and do it like this. Let's go and go for the card draw first off of Arcades. Let's get the Scry going. See if we can't kind of set this up just a little bit better for us. Sun Petal Grove, let's go and put that on the bottom. And then we draw into Lure. And then we also draw into Assault Formation. Now, we can get down Lure on Arcades if we want to. This actually kind of puts us in an interesting spot where we can go for Wall of Junk. I think at this point right now, though, let's go and tap out on Signet. And let's go and get down Assault Formation. And we'll go and hold on to Lure at this point right now. Hopefully, if we can get enough creatures with a Defender on the battlefield by drawing a little bit more, what we can do is get some sort of creature down to kind of basically be the Lure target for our opponent. And we'll be able to kind of swing in off of that one. Now, we mainly do have Lure in here, simply just, we do have another card, it's Fog Bank, that's going to prevent all combat damage that's going to be dealt to it. So you put Lure onto Fog Bank, and it basically allows you to kind of have a creature that's, in effect, indestructible. But one of the cool things about that is that it also kind of puts you in the spots where you can go for a really nice alpha swing. I mean, you're getting a lot of these really low-costed creatures down 0/7s, 1/5s, and simply putting Lure onto one of those creatures, preventing them from swinging in, might be more than enough to kind of help you kind of close it out. All right, opponent's going to be swinging in for a 3/4 with Gonti. That will knock us down to 19, and that will put us online for 3 total commander damage. Okay, and our opponent had to step away for a second, so we're getting back into the match. Now, with Assault Formation on the battlefield, we do have at least 3 mana that we can go for. Creatures you control get +0/+1, so that might kind of allow us to push us past that. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're only looking for about 2 activations at this point right now. Opponent's going to go for Disciple of Bolas. Sacrifice a creature, you gain life equal to that one. I'll send Gonti back to the command zone. Let's see what else they're going to cast out for the turn. Opponent's going to go for Panharmonicon. Okay, it's going to be definitely interesting with Gonti on the battlefield. And they're going to go for Gonti, so it's going to be double Gonti triggers off of this one. Now, about the only thing that our opponent could grab that would be really, really bad for us would be something like Venser. With Venser, that's going to allow them to kind of get into the spots where they can start bouncing Gonti with that Panharmonicon. That'd be just absolutely brutal. All right, so draw into Signet. Let's go ahead and get Signet down. Yeah, it's better than nothing at this point, so let's go and tap out on Signet. This will be 1 off Yavimaya Coast. And they're going to be very slowly, yeah. It's not the end of the world just yet. Yeah, let's just go and pass it. I guess technically, depending on what they swing in with, since we do have Wall of Junk, we can at least bounce it back to the hand. With Crossroads, we can at least get into some sort of card draw. So we'll see if our opponent's going to start swinging in with something other than Gonti, simply because we don't want to lose that 0/7. That might be the difference in us hopefully trying to close the game out. But let's see what our opponent's going to roll out for next turn. Now, one thing that our opponent does have on the board that's really kind of complicating us is they have 2 creatures with flying that's going to allow us to kind of at least kind of stop Arcades from coming across. Now, one thing that we can kind of get in on the battlefield that definitely help us out would be something like Tetsuko. That's going to give all of our, at least most of our defenders creatures the ability to kind of push past our opponent, especially if they have power toughness 1 or less. So that's really going to help us maybe kind of get this one. Another thing would be something like Sidar. That's going to give our creatures unblockable. Kind of have that flanking on there too. So we have a couple different utility creatures that might help us kind of get out from underneath this one. But the main thing that we need is some sort of action. We need some sort of card draw, or at least getting some of these defenders onto the battlefield. Opponent has a ton of mana. We've got Gauntlet of Power going. We have Cage Sun. Oh, this is pretty much everything you want to see in a Gonti show. And then Conjurer's Closet too. Why not? Let's get the party started. And opponent's going to go for Erratic Portal. Okay. Now, we do have to watch out for that one. They can use Erratic Portal to kind of start bouncing some of their commanders back to their hand, or at least some of their cards, especially if they want to bounce Gonti back. But we also need to make sure that we at least leave up 1 particular mana to pay for that. That way, if we are trying to go for some sort of alpha swing, that they don't simply just kind of get that down and bounce that creature back to our hand. All right, opponent's going to be swinging in with Gonti. That's fine. It's going to put us down to 16. And opponent's going to go for Erratic Portal on Gonti, okay? And that will be another set of Gonti double triggers. But yeah, with Lure in the hand, hopefully we're going to be able to draw into some sort of wall action. We have to get pretty lucky drawing into a few more defenders and keep casting them. We actually have a couple different defenders in here that when they enter the battlefield, we get some card draw, stuff like Wall of Blossoms or Wall of Omens. So if we can kind of get that going, that might, some sort of really nice card draw chain, we might be able to kind of sequence something together. But the way it's looking at right now, with our opponent being able to get some really good, I mean, just Erratic Portal with Panharmonicon and Conjurer's Closet. It is just, that is pretty nasty. So we'll see what our opponent's going to be able to get off the back end, too, on this one. And leave it to Gonti to want to steal the show on a new release Friday. That's, but I guess this is what it feels like to play against Gonti, getting all these, because whenever you get Gonti going like this one, man, it is one of the best feelings in Magic. Like, even if you don't win, you know, you're getting a lot of card advantage. That's always going to be helping you win. But sometimes you don't convert in a game like this one. But it just feels good to get that going. All right, draw into another Signet. That's actually all 3 Signets in the deck. So let's go and get the Signet down. That's going to be Reliquary Tower. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and go Reliquary Tower on Selesnya Signet. Let's go and get Signet down. And then I guess anything else, we'll just go and pass the turn to our opponent. Yeah, this Lure doesn't do us any good right now. We can't really get any sort of card actions. Let's go and tap out for Signet, and then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. And opponent's going to go for Congregation at Dawn. Okay, go for it. Let's see how they want to stack the top part of their library. See what they can go for off of this one. All right, we'll see what's going to await for us after our opponent going for Congregation at Dawn with Gonti. I don't know how they could sequence it up. You know, maybe they have something like Grave Titan. That would definitely be something you can put on top and kind of go from there. But we'll see what else sort of card draw they can get into, especially if they wanted to use something like Erratic Portal. They could definitely go for that one. Opponent's going to go for Ravenous Chupacabra. Enter the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent controls. We'll see who they choose on this one. Next level play would be Wall of Junk. So you know exactly what that is. All right, opponent's going to go for Ravenous Chupacabra on Arcades. That's fine. And they'll also be able to take care of Wall of Junk off of the double extra Panharmonicon. Okay. Now, as far as combat damage coming across from our opponent, we are looking at 8. That will be 12, putting us down to 4. If they have another creature on top or another way to kind of draw a little bit more action, they will be able to kind of get a few more creatures with Crossroads going. But we'll see what else they kind of roll out for the turn. And then Wall of Roots, which was stolen from us with Gonti's 5-finger discount. Okay, so we get the whole crew swinging in. That's going to be 8, and then oh, and excuse me, with Rolling Stones, yeah, that's a global effect. So it's going to allow them to come across on this one. Okay, that's going to knock us down to, I think, yeah, knock us down to 3. That'll be 11 total commander damage. See what else they're going to go for. Okay, so let's see what we draw into. And our opponent went for about 4 Gonti triggers at the end of that turn. So we finally run into Defender, but unfortunately, Arcades has been dealt with a little late to the party. Perimeter captain on this. He's not that good of a captain of the perimeter. But anyway, we're going to go and scoop it up on this one. They're going to have it on combat damage the following turn. But you can definitely see the power of Gonti. Gonti Black Friday. He was very mad that he did not get his regular Friday showing when Arcades in his spot. So anyway, he's got to show up and show off to all of his new friends. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.